November 29th, December the 6th, live war map. Avdiivka, Bakhmut and Luhansk region, Russians aiming for success at any cost. It seems like the enemy sensed an opportunity. Consequently, they deployed significant reserves to intensify the assault across the front from Kupyansk to Vuhledar. The goal is to achieve some tangible results by New Year, something that Putin can showcase. Luhansk region. In the northern part of the region, close to Kupyansk, there is an ongoing slow offensive movement from Liman-Pershi to Sinkivka. Ukrainian forces in certain areas have had to withdraw, but it hasn't significantly altered the overall front line. Around Yahidne and Kislivka, counter-offensive clashes are still happening, with neither side gaining a clear advantage. The enemy's attempt to advance near Novoselivske was unsuccessful. In the southwest of the region, invaders are making renewed efforts to breach our defenses towards Liman. Around the village of Terne, spanning a 3-kilometer stretch from north to south, the opposing forces exploited a rotation in the Ukrainian military, temporarily occupying several positions and pushing 1.5 kilometers behind the front line. Subsequently, the Ukrainian armed forces managed to reclaim a portion of the lost ground at the northern edge of the offensive. Consequently, the Russians now control approximately 3.5 square kilometers more in the Donetsk region. Meanwhile, our drones successfully eliminated an oil depot near the temporarily occupied Luhansk. Bakhmut front. Intense fighting unfolded both north and south of Bakhmut this week. The invading Russian forces put considerable pressure on the defense forces in Bogdanivka and Hromove. They drove our soldiers out of several strongholds, captured part of Hromove and advanced the front line south of the Berkivka reservoir. The Russians are trying to push the forces away from Bakhmut and towards Chasiv Yar and Ivanivske. However, their successes are currently limited to specific areas and haven't affected the overall situation on the front. On the southern front from the city, the Russian forces increased the pressure north of Klishchiivka, pushing Ukrainian soldiers out of various positions. At the same time, the Ukrainian forces launched a counteroffensive, pushing back the invaders north of the railway. Nearby, the Russians are making efforts to regain lost ground in Andriivka, approaching the cascade of lakes. However, it remains a challenge for the occupiers to dislodge the Ukrainian military from the strategic heights of Klishchiivka. Insufficient resources are currently preventing them from making significant progress on this front. Avdiivka. Currently, the Supreme Command of the Russian Armed Forces is focusing its attention on Avdiivka. The city is facing 18 to 20 airstrikes and 30 to 40 ground attacks daily from multiple directions, covering the entire perimeter. Despite these challenges, there hasn't been a significant breakthrough in our position this week. The occupiers are concentrating near the village of Stepove in an attempt to cut logistical routes. They've gained 700 meters in the eastern part of the village and a similar amount on the southern outskirts. The Ukrainian armed forces counterattacked north of Stepove, pushing the enemy back to the railroad. In other areas such as Krasnohorivka, Novokalinove, Opetne, Severne, Pervomaiske and Avdiivka industrial zone, the Ukrainian armed forces maintain a strong defense and prevent the encirclement of the city. The enemy has made a slight advance only east of Vodane, moving 100 meters into the gray zone. In particular, in Avdiivka, the garrison at the coke plant launched a counterattack and successfully pushed back the enemy positions towards the village of Kamenka. Marinka. The battle for Marinka persists. This is the city that has long been devastated. Initially, the Russians claimed the entire city's capture this week, but it was later revealed they only reached the western outskirts of the smaller southern part. The armed forces successfully halted the Russian advance in the main part of the city, partially pushing them back to their previous positions. The ongoing struggle for Marinka, dating back to 2014, continues. Kherson region. Due to severe weather conditions and limited visibility, both the Ukrainian armed forces and the Russian army were able to redeploy troops. The number of soldiers in the Krikny area has been increased to 400, a significant reinforcement that will allow a continuation of the advance southwest of the village towards Kozachye Lahori. At the same time, Ukrainian drones, which by the way significantly outnumber Russian drones in this section of the front line, are actively scouting and striking targets to the east of the Alash Kashki Desert. In particular, Nov29-Dec6 and Podokaliivka have been hit. A Russian stronghold in Mayachka was targeted with HIMARS, which led to its destruction. A strike on the village of Yubileyny resulted in deaths of at least 5 more Russian officers. In Hladkivka, our artillery managed to destroy an 11-car convoy of the invaders. Crimea. The Security Service of Ukraine, in collaboration with Main Intelligence Directorate, executed a large-scale drone attack on Feodosia and Kerch, a vital infrastructure object. The marine oil terminal in Feodosia with approximately 30 fuel tanks has been confirmed destroyed. The impact on Kerch is yet to be determined. Occupying media resources claim the downing of over 40 of our drones, but local residents reported explosions near the airport. Additionally, a similar incident occurred at the airfield in Saki with undisclosed results. Trans-Siberian Railway and Baikal-Amur main line. Ukrainian scouts successfully detonated 2 railway tracks on the Baikal-Amur main line in Buryatia. The explosion caused damage to a 15-kilometer tunnel, resulting in prolonged burning of fuel tanks. Saboteurs also targeted a train rerouted through the bridge, causing further destruction. Baikal-Amur main line is a key transportation route which is now closed until at least spring, impacting goods transport from North Korea. Simultaneously, the Trans-Siberian Railway, a vital eastern transportation route from Vladivostok to Moscow, remains a potential target. It spans significant rivers like the Yenisei in Krasnoyarsk and up in Novosibirsk, the Irtysh in Omsk and Kama in Perm. Disrupting bridges on these rivers could hold the Trans-Siberian Highway for an extended period, cutting off the primary supply route for weapons from Far East.